Hey guys! Today I'm going to be talking about some recent graphic novel reads. Normally I discuss graphic novels at the end of the month with all my other reads, but I feel like not everyone who likes books likes graphic novels, so I figured I'd try out doing a separate video for sort of the recent graphic novel wrap-up. But let me know down in the comments below, do you prefer separate videos for that? Do you not care? I'd love to hear your thoughts. So jumping right in, I'm going to start with On a Sunbeam by Tillie Walden. This is a very long, like coming-of-age sci-fi graphic novel written and illustrated by Tillie Walden. And it was really cute. I gave this one, I believe, 4 out of 5. So the story follows 2 separate timelines. One is sort of the current day where Mia is part of this construction crew, and we also get several flashbacks to her time at boarding school where she met and fell in love with a girl named Grace. A year after Grace and Mia meet, Grace unfortunately has to leave school and return home to sort of this area of deep space known as the staircase where she's from. And this is a very difficult part of space to get to. It's very closed off. It's very treacherous to get in and out of. But her whole family's from there, and something happens in which if she doesn't leave now, she may never get the chance to rejoin her family at the staircase. And so unfortunately, Mia and Grace get separated. And several years later, Mia finds herself with this construction crew and the opportunity to find Grace once more and maybe get some closure from their relationship. So like I said, this was really cute. It was very slow burn. Again, the length is, it's probably one of the longest graphic novels I've ever read. It's over 500 pages. It is really interesting, especially as a sci-fi story. I'm pretty sure there are no men in this book. Like, all the characters are either women or non-binary. So I thought that was really interesting because that's not really something you see a lot, specifically within the sci-fi genre, where it's dominated by women, and I thought that was really interesting. I will say, as much as I liked the art, it was very atmospheric and very moody. I really liked the limited color palette. There were several instances in which some of the characters looked so similar, I had a hard time discerning who was who, especially if we were kind of jumping back and forth between, like, scenes. So that's really my only critique of this. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was really cute. I do perhaps think it's not the most memorable story. I read this less than a week ago and I'm already kind of starting to struggle to remember certain elements of it. But again, it was really cute and I enjoyed it a lot. Next up, I read Saga Volume 6, and after sort of a few volumes that I did not love, I didn't hate either because Saga is really good all the way through, but the last few volumes were like 3 or 4 stars for me. We returned to a 5-star rating. I loved this volume. The last several volumes have jumped quite a few years forward in time, like with each volume. And so now we're at the point where this family's daughter, Hazel, is, I want to say, like 7 or 8, maybe even a little bit older. Whereas in the first volume, her mom was pregnant with her. And so we've jumped forward in time quite a lot since the beginning of this novel. And there's been a lot of development since the beginning of this graphic novel series. And there's been a lot of development in several of the characters. I think this graphic novel series does a really great job of juggling all of these characters. Obviously, the family is the heart of the story, but there are several like peripheral characters that help develop the story and move certain elements along, and they're just all so well done. There's this cute little seal character named Gus that I absolutely love. Every time he's on the page, my heart just swells because he's so cute, and I don't think like a cute character like that would sort of succeed as well as Gus does in like any other circumstance. I don't know, he's just a really effective character. So yeah, I really loved this volume, and I'm really looking forward to reading the next few. I'm now only 3 away from the ending, at least where they're on hiatus right now, and I'm so looking forward to them. I can't wait to see where this story goes. Next up, we have a couple Marvel graphic novels. The first one being Neil Gaiman's Marvel 1602. This is like a historical fiction meets superhero story, and I thought I was gonna love that because those are 2 of my favorite things. Basically, in the story, for some reason, the Marvel superheroes have started to appear you know, like 400 years too early. And the reasoning behind it threatens the entire multiverse's existence. So we have several very familiar characters, but in the time of 1602 in Elizabethan England. We have Nick Fury as Queen Elizabeth's sort of like informant, and his apprentice Peter, who is sort of the Peter Parker analog. We also have the Fantastic Four. They've gone missing. There are several mutant characters, though they're called Witchbreed in this book, and they're actually being hunted down by the Spanish Inquisition, headed by Magneto, which was an interesting choice, and I'll get into that momentarily. There's also a young girl from the colonies named Virginia who's come over to beg the Queen for some resources for their colony of Roanoke, and her bodyguard Rajhaz, which again I'll get into shortly. And so we see all these sort of plot points and these characters sort of merge. Stephen Strange is also like the court physician. So you have like this mystical element going on, as well as this like historical fiction element going on. Again, I thought I was gonna love this, but I have so many problems with some of the weird character choices I feel like they made for this. This 8-issue series, I believe, was originally published in 2002-ish, 2003 perhaps, which I feel like may explain some of my issues with it. First off, we have Rajhaz, who is Steve Rogers, presenting himself as a Native American man, fair-skinned, blonde Native American man, and there's just a lot to unpack there. It's a weird choice. I think even in 2002, kind of a weird choice. We have this time travel element, and so we discover that Steve is actually from the future, and when he came to the year like 1590 something, he was really disoriented, and I believe a tribe took him in, and that's sort of where he sort of took up this identity of Rajhaz, because they like misunderstood his name. But the fact that he chose to continue living his life as a Native American man was just a really bizarre choice to me. It's presented in a way that like he is trying to be sort of America's guiding light from like the very beginning, because in his timeline things went down, a dictatorship arose, and superheroes were being executed. So he wanted to make sure that never happened, and to make sure that America was on the right path from the beginning. And, like, if I squint, I almost get it, like, the choice to make him a Native American man, because if Captain America is meant to represent the spirit of the American people in 1602, most of those people were indigenous. I just think it was a very strange choice in that he chooses to become a member of an eventual marginalized group of people who eventually get bulldozed by colonizers. It doesn't seem like he'd have a lot of power there to make sure America gets started the right way. I don't know. Again, strange choice. Not my favorite. Hashtag not my Steve Rogers. I don't know. Additionally, we have Holocaust survivor Magneto as the High Inquisitor of the Spanish Inquisition, which is, again, a strange choice in my opinion. And it's a little less straightforward than that. We find out he's using this position to sort of collect Witchbreed, but he's still executing the non-human presenting ones at the stake. And, like, we are introduced to his character firstly, like about to execute Angel because he's got angel wings and it's, you know, a crime against God or something. I don't know. Again, weird choice. We do see him with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, which I thought was interesting. They're sort of his assistants, and he knows that they're Witchbreed, but like it's fine because they're using their force for good or whatever. I don't know. Again, just strange character choice for me. I don't know how I feel about it. Yeah, I don't know. This whole series just really befuddles me. I wanted to like it. I wanted to like it really bad, but I don't think I'll be rereading this one. I think it would be interesting to see Marvel perhaps in their What If series. I know that that's coming up. I don't know how many seasons they're planning of that because I don't believe they're planning on tackling 1602 in this first season. But if they choose to continue on with it, I think this idea is really cool, but I did not love the execution of it whatsoever. So it would be really interesting to see Marvel sort of redo this a little bit, perhaps. But yeah, I'm just kind of disappointed because, like, I like Neil Gaiman, I like Marvel, I like historical fiction. This should have worked for me. It just did not. And last up, we have Uncanny Avengers Volume 1, The Red Shadow. This one is also kind of weird for me in that I think this is actually very good, but I do not think I will be continuing the series. This is just a very heavy story. At the very beginning of this, Charles Xavier has passed away and they're at his funeral, and we see several characters of both the X-Men and the Avengers attending this funeral and mourning Charles's loss. We eventually come to find that the Red Skull, or a clone of him that has been preserved since the 40s, steals Charles Xavier's brain and utilizes it in order to basically cause mass hysteria within the American population. He's using Professor X's psychic powers in order to incite fear and extreme violence among the citizens of the United States. Like, in the streets, people are like attacking everyone else. He's utilizing this to basically eliminate mutant kind, and it's very heavy and disturbing, and it's hard, I think, to see this sort of fear and violence and stuff on the page. It's just a little too real. And it's really intense. And we also find several familiar superheroes fall like under the influence of that. Thor himself, like, in trying to defeat Red Skull, ends up getting brainwashed and turning on his, you know, fellow Avengers and X-Men, and literally almost kills one of them. So it's just really intense. And I have heard really good things about this series, but I just think, like, it's not for me. Most of my comic book and graphic novel choices tend to be, like, pretty cute, and I do want to get more into Marvel graphic novels. I just don't think I found the ones for me quite yet, because both this one and 1602 were just a little, like, uncomfortable for me for different reasons. But I do think this has an audience. It's just not perhaps me. The artwork also is really stunning, though, again, quite graphic in places. So yeah, unfortunately, don't think I will be continuing this series, but I'm not recommending it. I just think you have to have the stomach for some of the violence that this story contains. All right, and those are some of my recent graphic novel comic book reads. Let me know if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were. Also, I'd love to hear any suggestions for what you think I should pick up next for graphic novels, especially like Marvel and DC. I really want to get more into those. I just don't quite always know where to start. But yeah, I am enjoying the graphic novel journey that I am on lately. I've been trying to focus a little bit more on them because I tend to just let them pile up off to the side, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to get through them, and I want to read them and enjoy them. Also, again, let me know if you prefer this format, like separating my graphic novel recent reads from my monthly wrap-ups of regular books, or if I should just continue doing them all in one video. Let me know. And yeah, feel free to follow my socials down in the description box below, like this video, subscribe to my channel, and have a great day. Bye.